evening. How's it going, Dave?
That was good. Every time that starts up, that one is just so good. You know that? That was I love that intro.
It amps me up, gets me ready to go. So,
I'm
Dave,
going good.
good.
How are
Good, good,
you?
good.
I've heard some excellent news has happened on your side of the screen.
I've just been busy winning stuff. I won the Xbox Ally last week. I won a presidential award from my lumber supply company. I need to buy tickets to Vegas and get out there quickly before my luck runs out. And I bought like 400 lottery tickets today. I fully expect to win every single one of them. So,
Scratch offs, right?
yeah,
Did
definitely.
you ever have that person in your family or like your friend who at Christmas time would buy you scratch offs and just like put them in your stocking or be like, here,
Not
have
me, not me, but I remember commercials. I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." So here's the thing, if you do that for somebody, if they lose, you're terrible. If they win, it's like, "Wait a minute, I bought that ticket. I coulda won that money." So it's like it's a lose-lose situation, you know? I've never
I
understood why anybody would give someone lottery tickets for Christmas or their birthday. That's just dumb. So, yeah.
It's just like you go like you people do that. They give lotto tickets or they give scratch offs or they give like the tiny bottles of liquor and they're like it's like, oh, what this is
That
I don't know. It's
they
just how some
stole from
people
the
give
hotel
gifts.
room.
It's just how some people give gifts, right? It's
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe you should. You know who Elena's mom is one of these people who's born with just good luck or just not I shouldn't say good luck, just with luck.
Yeah.
She would like walk they would go to Vegas when she was a kid and she'd walk by those quarter machines because they had them in the airport and she'd pop a quarter in. And one year she won like 5 grand. Just
I
like
have a friend. Yeah, I have a friend. I don't know if it was Vegas, but it was a casino somewhere, and they were just kinda goofing off, and he played one machine and won $30,000. And he was telling me, like, he didn't because, he's a Christian, he didn't advertise to everybody because he didn't want, some people to get the wrong idea, so he was telling me one day, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? 30 grand?" But yeah, he won $30,000 by
you have
playing one machine out of the blue one time.
You have
So,
to pay like what is that, 55% or something like that back in taxes if you win that much money, right? It's an absurd amount of
still
money.
yeah, you still you're still getting to keep like 14 grand for
I
nothing.
mean I
So,
mean, that's nothing to shake a stick at. I if somebody told me right now, "Here's $14,000 untaxed," they'd be like, "Yeah, thanks, thanks."
yeah, yeah,
No one's gonna turn that down. That's
yeah.
crazy. So, I know we did not plan this beforehand, Ken, but it's relevant to our Starfleet review. This is breaking news in the real world. Are you ready for this? I don't think you're
Go
actually ready. So the president has put out from the official White House 43 minutes ago, and this is what President Donald Trump has said. I'm just going to read you what he wrote. Based on tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon (UAPs) and unidentified flying object (UFOs), and any and all information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. And in all caps, God bless America. They
now,
just announced that.
I remember I think it was Bill Clinton saying the same thing, and then he mysteriously didn't do it. So I'm wondering how far this is gonna go.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure it's either Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or maybe both of them. They're like, they promised. I think it was Bill Clinton promised, "When I get in office after he was elected, I'm gonna reveal all these secrets," and then he never did. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe somebody put a phaser to his head and said, "Don't you dare."
well,
So,
that's always the conspiracy that even the president's not allowed to talk about it. But yeah, I'm
yeah.
looking at it right here. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, said he's going to do it. The White House official, this White House's secondary official account, the Speaker, press secretary's official account, all of them dropped
Huh.
this like 43 minutes ago. I bet you if we looked on all the major news sites right now, they're probably going crazy over that. So that's just that's just nuts. Well, there you go.
Huh.
Yeah, release orders a release of it. Now, here's the thing that I've been following. I kind of follow like the high strangeness space a little bit. there has been a rumor floating that President Trump was going to talk about aliens on the anniversary of the Roswell crash, which I think is like in July.
Okay.
He wanted to be the president. Allegedly, he's going to be the president who reveals the truth, is what the thing was saying.
Huh.
And even his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, has said he is always uncomfortable, like when the question comes up amongst his kids.
Hmm.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's breaking news. Now, that's not really the gist of our channel, but you and I like space stuff, so I think that's an interesting
Hey,
thing.
if some Romulans or Borg came in, dropped by, that'd be kind of cool. Get their autograph.
All
So
right,
maybe
so
borrow some
we are a
technology.
Christian channel. All right, Ken, your official opinion on aliens as a Christian channel. What's your official opinion? Are they
My
real
official
little green men or something? Or are they what?
my official opinion is there is phenomenon going on that people believe are aliens, but in reality, they're not aliens. They're demons posing as aliens. That's what I believe. 'Cause I don't
I'm pro-
think that thousands and tens of thousands of people are all conspiring to make this stuff up. There's definitely something going on, and I think it's a mass deception by demonic forces. Because if you believe that there's aliens everywhere, it goes more into the Star Trek godless universe idea and kind of reinforces that versus God created us and created everything around for our enjoyment. Um,
Pardon.
I think that's what's going on. I really
Hmm.
do.
I'm probably there with you. But I'll add this caveat. I wouldn't be surprised if we find like bacteria out there
I'm
or
not
trees.
saying,
You
yeah,
know
you
what I
know what?
mean?
I'm not saying that there couldn't be life forms out there that God created. I'm sure there's life in the ocean that we have never seen.
Oh, for
Okay.
sure.
And there could be a lot of stuff that we've never seen. In fact, for thousands of years, no one saw bacteria or
That's
germs or
right.
anything, but they were there. You know,
Yeah.
God created them, so yeah, there could be life forms out there. I don't think they're sentient as far as what God created. Any more than a dog or a cat, but there certainly could be. Um,
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm at. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we find the equivalent of a tree or a fish or
yeah,
bacteria. Um, and it'd be cool, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I don't. So Christians do believe in non-human intelligent life. Of course, that's what angels are and demons are.
hmm
We've talked about this. I wouldn't be surprised if there are like a species of spiritual beings, to use a word like that, you know, like like this type of angel does this or this type of angel does that, and we could use that terminology.
yeah,
um I know that you have Christian martyrs from the 1st and 2nd century who'd be like, yeah, so that's a centaur village that's over there in that part of Egypt. And you're
yeah,
like, what do you do with that? Where these Christian martyrs who are like, it was Saint Athanasius was talking about a Christian satyr that's a goat horn guy. It's a goat feet with a human body. He was like, Saint Athanasius is the one who came with the Athanasian Creed, which is like, how we get the Trinity or all these formulations. And he's like, oh yeah, and that's a Saturn, and we brought him to Constantine the Emperor, and yeah, he's like,
yeah,
so what do
yeah,
you do with that? It's like, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's spiritual beings out there. There are just, myriads of species of them. And my reasoning for that is that there's, like you said, there's animals in the ocean we probably don't even know about.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is just as like the physical world, there's a diversity in the spiritual world. So, just there you go. Hey, y'all didn't come for the weirdness, but hey,
Yeah.
I really enjoy the kind of the weird stuff now and then.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do a weird day episode and just get into the weird stuff. Um, I'd be game for that at some point in the future. But yeah, I just had to share that news to you. That's like, wow, there you go. Um,
Speak
aliens, y'all,
Speaking of
aliens.
weirdness, Dave, you had me watch a trailer right before we got on the air, which I was, so I'm kind of you had more time to think about this, but there's a movie coming up, and
That's right.
we're gonna talk about it for a second. I'm gonna show our movie intro because we haven't seen that movie intro in a while.
Ooh, extra butter. That's nice.
Yes.
So this is really more a trailer review, but
Yes.
today dropped the trailer for Toy Story 5 just today. It was supposed to be out on the Super Bowl, but for some reason they didn't do it. The point of Toy Story 5 is that they're trying to milk the franchise.
Of course.
The,
Of course
you
they
know,
are.
uh Disney needs some money. Go back to that franchise to get some little bit more money from it. And I mean, if you think about it, Toy Story is a perfect franchise for a movie company because number one, it's about toys, so you can sell the toys because
Yeah.
kids will buy the toys. Parents will buy their kids the toys. I don't know about you, but my kids have Buzz Lightyears and Woodies and Jessies as
Yeah.
well.
It's a tremendous. I mean, it's like back in the '80s when they had the Care Bear
Oh
cartoon,
yeah.
and then everyone had their Care Bear toys. It's like it's a perfect opportunity. You're making money on the show. You're making money in the merchandise, which you know merchandise is
Merchant.
huge.
That's the
And
real money.
yeah, that's the real money. I mean, that's how George Lucas made his fortune. He didn't make it from the Star Wars movies. He made it from the merchandise he sold, which actually was allowed him to fund the Star Wars movies, make more money, and then make more money off the merchandise. So he made a fortune off of merchandise.
It's a perfect film franchise if you think about it because of them selling toys and selling swag. But
Yep.
so they're doing a fifth film. The fourth film, which is the worst of them. They should have stopped at 3. They should have stopped. Andy graduates, he goes to college, and they make a mistake. He gives away the toys to this little girl named Bonnie. I think
Yep.
Andy should have kept the toys and then give them to his kids. But anyway,
Yeah.
Andy was a white male, so of course they can't keep him in the show. So
Nah.
he goes away, and so then Bonnie gets the toys. Bonnie plays with the toys, and in the fourth movie, Woody gets lost and he runs away. And so that's how they end the film. They end the film with Woody just leaving. And so you think like, okay, it should have been done at 3. It really should have been done at 4, and now 5. And 5 is one of these where I'm a parent of young kids. The crux of the issue is going to be about Bonnie, the little girl. She's probably I think she was 7 or 8. Would you say about that? Looking at her age there,
Yeah.
her parents get her with the equivalent of an iPad, and it turns her into a zombie, and she stops playing with her toys
Hmm.
and stops making friends. And the toys don't like the iPad thing. It's called a lily pad.
Yeah.
Um, And so this is a real thing that parents are really dealing with right now, which is screens to occupy their children. And literally, I see kids in the store like this all the time. And
Yeah.
they're just like droned in.
Yeah.
It's a real problem. It actually is a problem. So I I'm tempted because I want to like Disney stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've been burned so much.
I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess you would say. Like,
Yeah.
for me it'd be grandkids, but
Yeah.
or I would recommend it. Of course, their parents are gonna screen it, but if it was said, well, we were gonna, let you decide, which that wouldn't happen that way. But for me to recommend it to children, I need to see this movie and carefully watch it because Disney has had a growing bad reputation when it comes to indoctrinating kids the wrong way. So definitely, and I haven't seen. I never saw the last one, but I heard it was like a train wreck. So
It yeah,
of this sort of
they
stuff that
sh
shouldn't be in a Toy Story movie.
yeah, I wouldn't I mean, I have to rewatch it. I don't think the values were great, but they weren't like, "Whoa, they're sneaking that in."
Okay.
But it was an unnecessary film that was just to make money. And so this
Yeah.
one's coming out in June. It looks intriguing. Maybe we'll have to go and review it.
Yeah.
I want to like Disney films, but it's just, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's at the place where it's like, there it is. And you just like wait for 20 minutes and the agenda shows up. So I don't know what to make of it. The trailer is attractive. I think the The
Trailer looks harmless, but we all know
yes,
that doesn't mean anything.
and the
But yeah,
CGI looks great.
yeah,
So that was so good you could see the pixels on the lily pad's eyes. So they actually CGI'd in pixels, which is astounding.
yeah.
Um,
It looks like a good quality film as far as that goes. I hope it is. I
yeah,
hope it's a fun movie because watching the first ones, stuff, movies like that, Finding Nemo, stuff like that. I love stuff like that. It's great for kids. It's funny for adults. So I hope that they're gonna do it right. You know, we need we need some kids movies that are done right because we haven't had
yeah.
that in a while. So
And that's the thing, because
definitely,
parents don't have any, and you're at the point where you could probably take one of your grandkids, just like, hey, we're taking our grandbabies out for a movie. And I'm sure your kids would be like, good, we're going out for a date. um, it's a good way to bond. And it's just sharing
yeah,
stories together is one of the most important things you could do as a family.
yeah.
And I can't, when is the last good kids film out there? Maybe the Mario movie.
Which I still haven't seen,
It's worth it.
but
That one is worth it,
I want to see it. For some reason, I haven't seen it yet.
because
So
the second one's coming out over the summer.
yeah,
The Mario movie was worth it, and I was real hesitant about the Mario movie. Um, I can't think of any Disney film in the last since 2019 that's been worth seeing.
yeah,
That's bad when you think of it like that.
yeah.
Luca was fine. Luca was okay. Um, didn't see Soul. I heard that was okay. I can't think of any of the other ones.
Mm.
And, I know you watched K-pop Demon Hunters, which was a solid
Oh,
which
fantastic!
how much has that improved in your mind since we've watched all this other stuff?
It's moved up quite a few notches. Let me tell you, all the stuff that we complained about. I'm like, why was I complaining about those things? I mean, Dave, I would look forward right now to going and watch Wicked 2. Just if I didn't have to watch any more Starfleet Academy, I would be joyously going to watch that movie. So,
Oh, man, don't make a promise you don't wanna keep.
after what we've been through for our viewers, yeah, these movies I thought were so bad, they're not so bad anymore. So,
Well, I
um,
think, that kinda wraps up our quick, those are kind of one was off the cuff, the other one was also off the cuff, but that kinda wraps up just what's going on out there concurrently. Yeah, I want to see good movies. I really do.
yeah.
And I wanna watch good movies with my kids. One that we just watched with them was, we watched Cinderella, the original Cinderella that Walt did,
Oh,
and
the white one.
you mean that in many ways, don't you? Um, we watched it, and now my one little one, she sings the songs almost every day. She's like, "Dad, can we
Mm,
watch it again?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can watch it again. I don't mind." Because
yeah,
it's a good movie,
yeah,
and, she doesn't hate her sisters or even her evil stepmother. She
yeah,
gets she which, and the world would say she's got every right, but instead she does the right things and she's blessed for it.
yeah,
So, good film, but what's better about watching I mean, you probably understand this better than I do. Those films are tired until your kids see them and then they're new again. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And then it's just amazing to watch somebody so little like, "I get this story and love the story." So,
yeah.
I'm excited for that. Um, so we'll let you know about more of these movies as they get closer. If
Mhm.
there's a movie you want us to watch, remember, you're always welcome to send in the comments wherever they are. "Hey, watch this film,"
Yep.
and then we'll try to get around to it. We do like to do that.
Yep.
Ken and I like to torture each other for some reason.
Mm,
He keeps
yes.
sending me Men in Tights, and I keep sending him terrible musicals. And
Well,
I
speaking of
think
terribleness, I think, our next segment is ready to go.
all
So
right.
let's hit it. That never gets old, and I don't
It's
know why we keep rowing towards the disaster. We do that every
well,
week. It
it's,
I keep
we do
hoping that boat will go the other direction, but it never does. It just keeps going that way.
Well, we row that way so they don't have to out there. But
That's
can
true.
I tell you, I said this beforehand, but so everyone else can hear it. I watched this episode and I'm gonna depend on Ken to remember because it stood in my brain so clearly that I'm having a hard time remembering this one. That's how this I like as I'm thinking about it, I'm remembering parts of it, but this one was so unmemorable, which is an improvement, by the way. That is
Yeah,
an improvement.
yeah. I'll I'll
That's how
I'll
this episode was.
I wrote some stuff down because Dave, I figured I would run through the basic gist of the episode, and then we go back and rip it to shreds after that. Um,
Yeah, that sounds
I
good.
will say this: out of the 6 episodes that have come out, this one was actually somewhat interesting to watch. I didn't feel like I was going to fall asleep. So I would give the writers credit where credit is due. I think the writers of this episode actually have some talent. However, I don't think they were given the tools that they needed to do what needed to be done. Because while I say that, this episode had, I think, the most concentrated amount of plot holes and inconsistencies of any of the episodes yet. It was just astounding. But again, it goes back to this idea of they're they don't do their research. They're not told to do their research. A good writer, Dave, you know this, a good writer researches the subject they're going to write about. That's what they
Yeah.
do. None of these writers, even these guys, have researched anything. I think they were all given an AI sheet of terminology. Okay, here's Star Trek terminology. Let's just write an episode. No context of what any of it means, which is why they keep making these ridiculous mistakes in these ridiculous plot holes. So we're going to go through that. Um, but I also heard that this show is doing so bad, it isn't even registering on the Nielsen ratings at this point.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
it's on a cancellation watch. And the other thing that's interesting is every week I've been checking, everyone is tight-lipped about, so okay, so how many people have been watching the show? Well, initially, the first show, they had 2.1 million viewers, but that was like the first 15, 20 minutes. After that, it like nosedive. And you can't get any I can't seem to find any real data other than rumors of how many people have been watching, and I think there's a reason for that. They're being tight-lipped. They don't wanna tell you, "Oh, yeah, there's like
Mm.
nobody." Other than Paramount, they're not in the top 10 on the streaming list, and they're not even showing up on the Nielsen ratings at this point. So, I have no doubt that by episode 10, shortly after, we're gonna hear it's been canceled, and that'll be the end of it. Either way, in my book, it's canceled after episode 10. I am not watching anything else after that. I'm gonna need a long vacation
Ugh.
after this deal. Um, but yeah, we I'll give a quick recap of the episode. It opens up with a completely useless scene of Caleb and his Betazoid Jedi girlfriend
Ugh.
doing things that you don't normally see in Star Trek and completely unnecessary. It was ridiculous. Um, so then they're on their way in the USS Athena, on their way to a training ground. The cadets are sent to train on the old USS Miyazaki, and that's a ship that suffered a tragic accident while supposedly experimenting with a singularity powered warp drive, and we will come back to that. The entire crew died, but yet they're training on it. So while training, they're taken captive by a vicious alien enemy called the Furies, who are also cannibals and known to kill their victims and eat them. The Furies ship is cloaked nearby, and the Athena cannot locate them initially. The Furies put up a scattering field, which prevents cadets from being beamed back to the Athena. Captain Blondie does not know what to do and calls Admiral Useless on subspace, and he appears as a hologram. And the two of them, along with Chancellor Stupid of the War College, scratch their heads and decide to ask their nemesis, for some reason, Nusbraka, how to defeat the Furies while they make a deal with him. So they locate Nusbraka. He was in the first episode. The character that was like, am I supposed to hate this guy or am I supposed to laugh with him? You couldn't really tell. He's a hybrid, Klingon something hybrid. I don't remember what else he is. But a really bad dude. He's the one that was arrested initially by Captain Blondie and Caleb's mom they went to the penal colony, and then he ended up escaping. They ended up both escaping. So along the way, they make a deal with Nusbraka uh, in exchange for the needed info because Nusbraka apparently had a reputation for being able to hold off these bad guys, the Furies, and they wanted to know how he could do it. So they realized they need a device from another starship, the USS Saragossa, which is currently stationed at the J-19 Alpha Starbase. The Saragossa warps over, leaving the starbase unguarded, in order to help defeat the Furies. The cloak ship that they had been looking for decloaks, and surprise, it's Nusbraka's ship. Nusbraka's ship targets the Saratoga and blows it to pieces in like 2 seconds. The cadets are beamed off the Miyazaki right after the Betazoid Jedi kills the Furies on the ship with her mind. Captain Blondie and the others realize they have been tricked because they find out that the star base was attacked by the, Nusbraka's Fury Force, who he was working with all along, and everyone on board died. And Nusbraka, his forces plundered the starbase and stole some guarded secrets of the Federation, and they don't know exactly what they were. And everyone's sad at the end. That is pretty much the
That's
summary.
a great summation. Yeah.
Um, so, Dave, I'm opening up a can of worms here. Problems with the storyline. Now, I made a list, and my list is a fraction of the actual unending list. So, because we won't have 6 hours to spend on this episode.
So so why don't we save? We could save the singularity drive issue for a little bit because that's got to be
Yes.
something that's gonna. That's okay. That's
I
for
also
those
want
that
to say
don't
one more
understand.
thing.
It's one of the nerdiest things. But yeah,
Here's the thing, Dave. When we're done going through this, I'm going to explain to you and the audience what Captain Blondie should have done. I just want to throw that out now. Based
so
on Star Trek
y-
canon, and it took me all of 5 minutes to figure this out. So we're going to save that to the end of this segment. I just want to put that
okay.
out there.
So the big
So,
issues are number one, like we've said this before. This is a terrible high school show in a Star Trek skin suit.
mhm,
These are college age students, maybe they're high school students. They have no business going on a ship that's derelict in the middle of space to do a practice run mission. Even if you watch Star Trek, when Kirk was doing his training, the Kobayashi Maru training, famously, he was on a model and he was
yeah,
on like a projector deck.
yeah,
Um, that was before they had the holodecks. They literally could have done all this on a holodeck.
yeah.
And instead, they take these kids out to a spaceship junkyard or graveyard and have them actually do something dangerous as opposed to in a place that could simulate pretty real danger. So, number
Well,
one, why are they taking these kids to this place when they don't need to do that? They
it's an
made this situation
unsecure, yeah, it's an unsecure location. Number one. Number two, it's it's a ship graveyard. Can you imagine if our Navy decided, "Hey, we're gonna use the USS Arizona as a training ground." Okay,
yeah,
that's a memorial where there are still skeletons of dead soldiers inside that sunken ship.
yeah,
That's like the equivalent of what they're doing here. It's like, why would you do that?
yeah.
Um,
And
and you have the experimental singularity drive, which we'll talk about later. Why would they leave that behind? Why would they
I,
leave that for anyone to find? That
yeah, so
makes
that's a
no sense.
So the problem with that, guys, is it's gonna bump into the worst storyline ever, which is the burn. That they just like why do they deal with the burn if they have these things? Anyway, so and then there's a whole can of worms we're gonna go open up there.
Yeah,
It
we'll talk
had the
about that in a bit.
unnecessary adult scene at the very beginning of the episode.
Yeah,
There was yeah, there was a sex scene that was way too long, way too much, and way unneeded for the whole plot point. They could have like been chatting and she could have touched his hand and then the Betazoid special realm that she created. Which, by the way, Ken, did you know what she called it by any chance? The Betazoid realm that she took Caleb to?
I was too busy fast forwarding through that section. I don't
She
I
called
I
it.
don't remember because I
She
fast
called
forward,
it
I
a
jumped
safe
too far because
space.
I'm like, now they're arguing. So I backed it up until I got to where they were started arguing. Because like, why are they arguing? I need to know this for the review. Um, but no, I don't know. What did she say?
It was a safe space.
Safe space. Okay.
God forbid. Like, this is a safe space. It's like you can
Yeah.
have your feelings here. And then
Yeah.
as soon as I heard that, I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. And
And of
so like
course,
they go to yeah, go ahead.
he got mad at her because she got in his mind, but it was okay for him to get into her pants. Like, okay,
Ugh.
you know, I just,
And
I just, I just rolled my eyes at that. It was so stupid.
there is you would have to really twist my arm for me to think of any movie where an adult scene actually makes it better,
Yeah,
because there
it's
is
ridiculous.
no there is no need for any of them. I can understand if you're implying it, but if you're putting it in there, you're trying to do something.
Yeah, yeah,
There just has no purpose for it. In every single movie, there's no purpose for it. I'm not just being a prude here, or because I'm a pastor. I just don't think that there is any time in which you need to include a graphic scene to make a show better. If you're
no,
doing that, you're doing it for shock value,
yeah.
um, because you really don't have the chops to write something. Anyway, that aside,
S-
desanitization, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Be sent, yeah. But so anyway, aside from that, he gets taken to the safe space. Then they go to this ship, and there's a white male who's incredibly capable. He's the first white male that's shown up that is capable, by the way. And so what does he do? He
he gets
saves
killed
them
off.
all, and they kill him. But they probably didn't mean to do this. The guy dies a hero, though they
Yeah,
do kill him pretty quickly. They probably didn't want the white man to be a hero, but then they do kill him pretty quickly. And so that's annoying. And you see that there's the agenda there, which is that, well, you can't have the white guy save the day, even though he did kind of save their lives.
yeah. He
Um,
saved their lives. He did so on purpose. He knew what he was
yes,
doing.
and he knew what
Um,
he was doing. And he did it willingly, but they did make a point of the first person being killed being as a white dude. Um,
yeah.
so I that the agenda there, they had to have somebody die, but the agenda had them do it the way they did, but they couldn't write it in a way to make him look pathetic, which they have done to
Well,
every white male in the series so far.
the Vulcan kid, he died towards the end.
Yeah.
He was in the war college, and I don't know if you noticed this, but when he bled red, not green.
Just
Vulcans
'cause
have green blood.
oh, well, that's a big error. Well,
So,
you notice that Jaden, he lives, and Jaden's lover
exactly.
lives. So the gay guys live, though they are completely useless, which you think would be against the agenda. They should have been the ones that are the most useful.
Gaydon is so afraid to fight. He even talked about it in this one. I'm like, dude, just go away. You
Hit
don't even
somebody.
belong in Starfleet. He is a disgrace to all Klingons. His
Yeah,
house. And did you know? I didn't know this. I watched this week. His family, it's two dads and one mom. Did you
yeah.
know that?
Well, because they're a polycule.
Yeah,
They're not a real family. They're like a unit.
yeah.
Well, when we did talk about. No, we didn't talk about this. Do you know why? Oh man. Okay, I don't know if I talked about this on the online before. So here's my theory about why Starfleet is so gay and the Klingons are a bunch of wusses. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Go ahead.
So after this comes from history. This is from history. All the best men were killed in World War One and World War Two, and the people that survived either had PTSD and that messed up their brains, or or weren't the best to live. They were able to move on. It took the best and the brightest. It killed a lot of the brave who are willing to do the things that were hard.
Mhm.
So here's the Federation. The Federation is out doing the stuff the Federation does. The Klingons are doing what the Klingons do. And they're out there exploring the galaxy. Their best and the brightest are out at the far reaches of space. And the burn happens. And all the best and the brightest of the Federation literally die because all the dilithium reactors blow up. And so all the warriors in the Klingon Empire, they all get nuclear vaporized across all of the Klingon Empire. And so the manliest, the bravest, the hardiest, the smartest people
They're
get
all
cooked.
gone. They're all
And
gone.
so all the people who survived are those that are not any of those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Starfleet goes from being the elite to, well, calling it special ed would be an insult to people in special ed. whatever
short.
is. I don't want to, insult people with real needs, but that's because
No, no.
they're sure special. Who they got at the? No, they're not special. And so you go from having like the Kirks and the Picards to having the Sams and the Jadens and
I'm just
and
I'm just glad, Dave, that
they're all dead.
Sam was wearing her environmental force field suit so that she could, when they initially beamed on board the Miyazaki and the environmental system wasn't working, she could still breathe as a hologram. I'm glad she had her suit on. That's all I can say about that. That was
Oh
important.
man,
I
Sam
was
is
relieved.
so he okay. Who's the worst character, Jaden or Sam?
At this point, I'm gonna say Gaydon. Um, just because I
Oh.
can't stand the fact that he's supposedly a Klingon and he's just a complete wuss wimp snowflake. It's like just get rid of him. I will say that at least in this episode, Sam actually acted like she had some intelligence. The writers actually did well by her. I was like, okay, I'm mildly impressed. She was on the bridge communicating with the computer. Now using the coloring book idea was stupid. I don't know. It's like, where'd that come from? You teach the computer a coloring, show them a cartoon book to explain to the computer that their crew's dead. That made no sense. And then so they made a comic book about this to describe this horrible incident. I mean, that'd be like making a comic book about Pearl Harbor. I didn't really understand that, but
Yeah.
she at least played somewhat of a hero in this episode while Gaydon was hiding with his boy toy under the console the whole time, whimpering and rubbing his knee. So it's like, oh my gosh, just stop. Just please stop. So that just drove me
Yeah.
insane. But
I
every week it changes, which is the worst character.
I still think it's Sam, but your Jaden, he's making a rough
They're
good
neck
play
and
for him.
neck, but then you have Captain Blondie who it's like she should just be court-martialed for her
So
complete
this
lack of ability.
let me sum up Captain Holly Hunter's character. You ready? Watch. I've been practicing. Ready? Here it goes.
Stick your feet up in the air. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Now she also has her head back here, and she's always eating something. She's
Yeah,
always
and her
eating
feet are up in
something.
the air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not putting my feet up in the air.
So, at least she was sitting in the command chair correctly this time, even though she was, like, leaning forward with a scared look on her face, like she was paralyzed with fear. At least she wasn't lounging in the chair when this was all going on this time. But I'll tell you, she's the most useless for someone that's several hundred years old. She knows nothing about Starfleet, uh, regulations or
Anything.
anything.
Well, like
In
I
fact,
said,
the
all
only
the
reason
best of
why
Starfleet got killed. They
yeah,
did.
the
All the best got killed.
yeah, the only reason why these cadets survived, it wasn't because of her. She did nothing to
No.
help them. So, it was actually the Betazoid Jedi there that ended up saving the day in the end with a cheap, writing trick. "Oh, let's just make her use her mind," which Betazoids can't do that. I don't know. It's like, I don't know where they even came up with that. A Betazoid, even a most proficient Betazoid, they can communicate telepathically with each other or other telepaths. Some can communicate telepathically with non-telepaths, but you have to be, like, really strong-minded. But that's as far as it goes. None of this, "I'm gonna kill you with my mind because I got so angry, I'm gonna kill you with my mind." There's no such Betazoid. That's Jedi stuff. So,
Well,
it's not even Jedi stuff, actually.
the
But
thing is that so now that we've talked about it, and we got to talk about the issue that I know that we've talked about offline. They just don't know their own lore. They
no,
don't know it.
no.
They are people who I was looking up the people who wrote this episode. The one wrote most of the episodes in season 2 and 1 of Picard. They did a lot of work in Discovery, but the later end of Discovery.
Yeah, that ain't saying much.
And so their chops are just not any good.
No.
And they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the background. The showrunners aren't there. They have purposely prevented Star Trek, people who could like proofread, if you will, the series. They've shut
Yeah.
them out. They
Yeah.
purposely don't have them involved,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, I don't know how other people are receiving this. When I look online, what people are thinking, uh, most people have not made this, suicidally stupid decision you and I have made, which is to watch the show. Most of them are long done. They stopped at episode 2.
Yeah.
I am in complete agreement with you. This is the best episode so far,
Yeah.
and it
Which
is completely forgettable.
yeah.
Complete.
I mean, so they're searching for Nuss Braca. It took them 10 minutes to find him.
Yeah.
And, a minute after that, he shows up at their doorstep. It's like he was waiting around the corner. Um, he enters the scene by misquoting a line from The Sound of Music, a movie made on Earth 1,200 years before he was born, a planet he wasn't born on. And he also makes comments that are common references in the 21st century on Earth. So I don't think anyone in the 32nd century would have had a clue what he was talking about. Um, he's a hybrid alien. He is not from Earth. He has nothing to do with Earth. So it's just another. Again, it's bad writing. It's
Yeah.
like, trying to make references that we would understand today, but that's fine. But this is 1,000 years in the future. What does that have to do with the future? That it's just terrible writing. And as it turns out, this was Nuss Braca's plan all along for the Federation to come to him and get him involved so he could trick them. How would he know they were going to come to him? Like that's a 1 in a million shot. They would have come to him and say, "Hey, we want to make a deal with you. Come help us." It's like that made no sense at all. And then his terms for agreeing to work with them, he wanted the Federation to withhold dilithium from millions of people so they could save half a dozen cadets, which no government would ever do that, and no one else in the Federation would have ever done that, but they do it here, and the admiral agrees to it. Like, yeah, we'll just do that to save our cadets. That was just dumb. So, and I saw somebody say this week, once he gave them the needed information, why didn't they just arrest him? They could have just gone back on their word and arrested him and been done with it. I mean, he's a dangerous criminal, and he's already attacked Federation ships before. They could have just tricked him, but no, they just let him go. The other plot, and we'll get to the big one in just a minute, but I wanted to just do a couple of things here. The whole Nuss Braca's plan was basically to lure this ship. I don't remember the name of the ship. I already forgot it. It was which ship went from the Miyazaki. No, not the Miyazaki, the other one. What was the
I
other
know you're
ship?
talking. Yeah, yeah.
He lures the ship away from the starbase because apparently that ship was protecting the starbase so that he could attack the starbase. Yet when the ship arrives at the graveyard, it takes like 2 torpedoes from his other ship to destroy it. So was that really stopping him from attacking the starbase in the first place? And now he's the most wanted man in the galaxy when he could have stayed in the shadows, just attack the starbase have the Fury attack the starbase and do what they want to do. That ship wouldn't have stopped him. And that would have been the end of it. And no one would have known it was Nuss Braca. He could have stayed in the shadows and got what he wanted. But instead, now everyone's going to be looking for him. So that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And then let's see, where was the last part here? Here's another and talk about, you talk about the only white guy that died, a hero. The retarded girl who swallows her comm badge in the first episode, she sees on the view screen that guy dead, floating in space, frozen, that they shoved out the airlock. She has a complete mental breakdown on the bridge. Surprise! I know it's shocking. Complete mental breakdown, freezes, melts down, is useless. The first officer sends her off the bridge. First officer should have just sent her out of Starfleet at that point. But that was interesting they did that because they literally undermined their own philosophy when they did that. To say, oh, anyone can join Starfleet. Well, no, because she, in a critical moment, she could have killed herself and everybody else around her if she didn't act in a critical moment. As it was a critical situation, and she suddenly became useless on the bridge. Just proving the point that any common sense person would have. She doesn't belong in Starfleet. Starfleet is not like any military. Military is not about DEI hiring. Okay, that
Yeah.
would be a disaster, and that's exactly what
Yeah.
she is, and that's exactly what happened. So it's funny that the scene just completely undermines their whole inclusivity idea that they have in the show. Um, but yeah,
I
we
didn't
already
think
talked
about that.
about
That's a good catch.
yeah, we already talked about Gaten. I don't want to go back to him.
Yeah.
But Dave, let's talk about the huge elephant in the room.
Yeah,
The
go
one
ahead.
thing that
Shoot.
so this week I was at the vet with one of my dogs, and it took forever. And I started thinking about this episode, running it through my head again, and I suddenly hit me. I'm like, wait a second. So, so this dead ship that's out there that has the experimental singularity drive, because this ship was an experimental ship during the burn period when they couldn't travel warp drive because they didn't have dilithium. So the singularity drive powers the warp engines. And this was supposedly experimental and it went horribly wrong and they all died. But Dave, here's the problem. The Romulans have been using singularity drives since at least the 24th century. They don't use
Yeah.
dilithium to power the warp drive. They use an artificial singularity drive that was established, very well established in Star Trek Next Generation. I don't know why I
Yeah.
didn't think about that before. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, but this episode jogged my memory, and I'm like, wait a second. So number one, why didn't everybody just switch to singularity drives? That would have been the end of it. Number two, or the Romulan Empire would have conquered the quadrant
Easy.
and
And
yeah, easily. They could have
and
taken
they
advantage of the whole situation.
and the Romulans would do that. That's their
Yes.
character.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, whatever happened. I know the plot line had Romulus all screwed up, but the old boss is like the new boss. The new boss, same as the old boss with the Romulans. They're the same people. They act the
Yeah.
same way, even if the leadership changes.
They
They
would
would
have
have rolled
taken
in, and that's it.
It could have if the Klingons had the same technology, they would have taken advantage of the situation. So
Of
any one of
course.
these factions would have taken advantage of the situation. So the reality is this was not an experimental drive. This is
Oh, it's
ancient technology.
yeah, at that
So
point.
again, that makes no sense whatsoever. Um yeah, that was and that undermines the entire Burn story. That undermines this story. It's all the same timeline. And then of course at the end of this episode, the Betazoid Jedi uses her mental powers to kill the Furies that were left, that were about to kill the cadets. Um, it was, convenient, magical, and yet no one says anything about it. Like, nobody. The reality is the cadets should have died. They were,
Yeah.
they were being overpowered. They got through the Furies had got through the force field and onto the bridge where they were hiding of this derelict ship. And all of a sudden they were all, their heads exploded because she intervened and destroyed them with her mind. Now, so two things. Number one, she does this, and then everyone's sad at the end, and no one says anything about, wait a second, Betazoid Jedi here just killed all those people. How did she do that? She, we have an asset here. The other thing is during this entire episode, there was her and her brother that were on board the Athena. Captain Blondie doesn't think to use them to scan the minds of the Fury while she's talking to them on the view screen. She doesn't think to use them to scan the mind of Nuss Braca to find out if he's telling the truth or not. I mean,
Yeah.
Picard had Troy, and he used her almost every episode to screen people he was talking to see, are they telling the truth? Are they hiding something? She did none of that. So there was just a lot of loose ends, stuff that would have it just the whole episode was just a train wreck.
But
Um,
what Picard didn't have that Holly Hunter's character does have? A fat
hair.
Jem'Hadar. Second, a fat lesbian who hasn't had any speaking roles yet. A lot of fat people, by the way.
Yeah.
And that's all she really needs. And then she also has another lesbian as an engineer who's out with the the fat Jem'Hadar
Yeah.
woman hybrid.
Jem'Hadar Klingon thing.
That's 1, 2, 3 lesbians in her deck crew.
How many lesbians does it take to solve a Fury problem? That's what I wanna know.
I apparently uh, we don't know.
Don't know yet. Hasn't been solved.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Wow. Now that I've said
so
that out loud, there's a lot. It's a gay show. Like, wow.
yeah.
'Cause you got
Of course,
Jaden and you have
at
those
the
3.
I'm concerned because the retarded hologram was damaged, even though you can't damage a projection of
Oh,
light.
that made no sense.
Yeah, but I'm
Like,
definitely concerned. I hope that she recovers okay.
she's like, literally, what you could do is just like with my computer, if I ever got something on it, I could roll it back like a week. Why don't they just roll her back?
No, thank you.
She's a program. Just roll her back from the last auto update like a week ago. And, if she
So
misses a week of information, no one's going to be upset about that.
oh my word. Yeah. I just I don't understand. So, Dave, it took me 5 minutes to figure this out, but I asked myself the question this week, how would I have handled this if I was captain of the Athena? And the first thing I would do is say to myself, why am I the captain of this ship with all these weirdos on board? I quit. That's what I would do first. Um, but no, I would, looking at the situation and using Star Trek canon to solve this problem. Okay. So what do we have here? The Furies have a cloaked ship I cannot immediately locate. They've taken captive my cadets on this derelict ship. I cannot beam them back. Um, and because they have a scattering field that they're projecting that stops me from using my transporter, but it also stops them from using their transporter. They're going to kill my cadets one by one. They're my cadets are a walking dead at this point, so my options are limited. Um, as we know in Star Trek, a Starfleet captain always responds with against the enemy with force and authority, no matter what, no matter how grim the situation may be, no matter how weak my hand might be, it doesn't matter. Um, First of all, I would use one of my Betazoids available in communication with the enemy. I would have my transporter stand by to beam the cadets back, even though they can't do it now. I would lock phasers on the Miyazaki and stand by to fire. I would hail the Furies and demand they vacate the Miyazaki immediately, and they have 10 seconds before I open fire. They're not going to get off the ship, but
Yeah.
after 10 seconds, I'm going to open fire. I'm going to start at the nacelles and work my way through. At that point, the Furies are going to leave unless they want to commit suicide. They're going to leave because they can't stop me in time from destroying that ship. But they have to drop their scattering field. The moment they drop that scattering field, I beam my cadets off while sending a half a dozen torpedoes at the Miyazaki, which destroys it completely and hopefully does damage to the cloak ship. But either way, I've created a diversion so I can hightail it out of there at max warp. That's how you do it. Is it risky? Yeah, but you're in Starfleet. It's always risk. If my cadets are dead anyway by me doing nothing, I'm going to take the chance and I'm going to follow through. And then I just have to deal with whether they're going to chase me or not. Now, this doesn't solve the problem with the starbase, but that's a whole separate issue. I don't even know that's going on. Right now, I'm just concerned about getting my cadets out of there. And let's pretend for a moment that that ship that I can't remember the name of didn't leave the starbase and somehow could have protected it. Then fine. I've solved both problems. In reality, that ship would have been destroyed, and that would have been the end of it, along with the starbase. But, was that hard to figure out? I don't think it was hard to figure out. And I just simply did what Captain Picard would have done, Captain Sisko would have done, Captain Janeway would have done, Captain Archer would have done. And in fact, Captain Janeway did something very similar in one episode where she literally they were under captive by these aliens who were cloaked and they didn't even know what was going on. And Seven of Nine was able to detect that there was something going on and adjust her optical Borg implant, and she could see them. So, long story short, um, these aliens started, they were experimenting on the crew, and some of them started dying. The crew started dying, and basically Janeway was able to communicate with with their head alien, and she's like, "Well, we're going to experiment on your people, so just deal with it, and you're going to lose about 25% of them." And Janeway's like, "Oh yeah," and then she takes the ship and flies it towards a binary star system. In between the stars, where there's this gravimetric force that will rip a ship apart, and she just flies right towards it. And the alien's like, "You're not gonna do this." She's like, "Oh, yes, I am." And she did. And the aliens ended up leaving. One of them ended up, the ships got destroyed, and they flew and got around it, somehow survived. But the point is, she was like, "My crew's gonna be dead anyway, at least some of them. I'm not letting this happen." So
Yeah.
and there's other examples. So it's like this episode made no sense. Again, the writers don't know anything about Star Trek. They wrote an episode that you could pick apart. Any Star Trek fan can pick apart in 2 seconds, and it was just it was just a mess. It was just an absolute
Yeah.
mess. So, but
Well,
we've come to
I do.
expect that by now.
Yeah, they are. I wouldn't. I mean, the question is, are they being lazy, or they just don't care? You know. Um.
I think they don't care. Their idea was they're going to, and I've read some stuff about this. They don't care about the show's not for Star Trek fans. We've said that many times,
Yeah.
and that's purposely done. It's for a fan base that, quite honestly, doesn't exist.
No, because
Um,
if you want to watch a high school show, you're not going to watch a science fiction.
no, no, you're not. Unless a Star Trek fan is going to watch a Star Trek show, but if you're not a Star Trek fan, you're not going to watch a Star Trek show, no matter what it's about. You know,
It's
it's just
just it's not for them.
no, no,
A non Star Trek fan will see a Star Trek movie, especially if it's got a lot of action in it. But
yeah,
a movie goer is very different than a TV show watcher. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Um, People will go see movies just to eat popcorn and have the experience, and they'll just see whatever it is. Or in the case of like the most recent Star Trek movies, they were Star Trek movies, but they were action movies that had
yeah,
they were
yeah,
equal measure. I'll give you that. They were just as much action as they were Star Trek.
yeah,
You see like the Enterprise doing some awesome stuff, which I like it when they put the starships through their paces. I like seeing them.
yeah,
Like I was watching an episode of Discovery, and when you see Pike like making that thing turn on a dime, I'm like, I like this. Now,
yeah,
please, no one on ship talk.
yeah,
Just, just don't say anything anyone else on the show. I just want to see the Enterprise just do loop de loos through space. That's
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but don't Pike, your hair is great, but don't say a word. Let Ethan Peck do all the talking. That's all I need,
yeah,
and not talk about romantic things. Just talk about sciencey things while the ship just is, doing things that it should be doing. The
yeah.
ship should just be its own character, also a non-talking. And but I'm just so unimpressed. They are not. We're just repeating ourselves. It's not a Star Trek show. It's a high school show,
No,
and it's not made for fans. And they don't want the money. They don't want the money. And you literally have so much money you could make, and they just don't want it. I
I
don't know.
hope Paramount learns their lesson, because here's the thing, we've talked about Disney before. Paramount is a lot smaller than Disney. Paramount can't
Oh
afford
yeah.
to take hits like this. Disney's
Well,
got multiple streams of income. They got their movies, the TV, they got their cruise ships, they got the theme park, so they can afford to have an idiot in charge for a while and really screw things up in one area until they suddenly realize, wait a minute, look, wait, we're not paying attention to what's going on over here. We need to deal with this. They can afford that, but Paramount can't afford that. They can't afford this type of hit. So, um, hopefully they learn a lesson here, and hopefully they're more careful with what they allow for so-called Star Trek, and because they do have other ideas. There's other things in the works. Um, I just hope they do it right. I mean, they need to get Strange New Worlds season 4 up and running like today,
yeah,
because they've kind of put that, it's been done, but it's not on TV yet. It's not out there yet. They need to get that and kind of let this thing. I'm sure they probably have a contract where they have to show these episodes through the season.
for so
Probably
long.
why they're only, yeah, the reason why they're still showing them. And then I'm sure once the episode 10 is done, they're gonna announce, "Yep, we're done," with that. So, but they've been tight-lipped about it since then, but I think they have to be probably.
Well, here's the
So,
thing. I'm reading right now. Like, so CBS Paramount owns, Star Trek. Paramount produces it.
mhm.
It looks like Comcast, they own NBC Universal. They run the Universal theme parks. Comcast is looking like it's going to try to buy Paramount out.
Huh.
And so, well, that'd be quite the coup.
Yeah.
The thing is that these people, they're not making money. And yeah, you're right. Comcast is a smaller company. With the Disney company, like 60% of their income comes from their theme parks. It's like something, it's crazy how much money they make from
Yeah.
their theme parks as opposed to from their films.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but see, Paramount doesn't have that. You are 100% correct. They
Yeah.
are totally dependent on their TV catalog, and they're just not giving the right people the ability to do it. Now, I guess
Yep.
the Comcast merger is a speculative thing. It's I guess a rumor as of 3 days ago. But
They keep putting out stuff like this, somebody will be buying them. That's for sure.
well, if the point is to drive down the stock value, they're doing it. You
Yeah.
know, so um, like I said, Ken, maybe we should start giving this good reviews so that the value of CBS Paramount goes so far down that we could buy it. You could just like, hey, we'll just buy Star Trek from you. I got a nickel in my pocket. What you take? And
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
just
it.
go the opposite. Just start shilling. Why don't we shill instead? Maybe we could get money that way. Just totally sell out and see what happens.
We could do that.
Hey, so speaking of selling out, let's do the opposite and talk about some Bible stuff for a little bit.
Yeah, let's move on. I am ready.
Oh man, I'm just thinking about that, what they're doing over there. It just gets me all riled up. Well, let's talk about prayer real quick. We've been talking about prayer the last
Yeah.
couple weeks. Let me pull this over here so I can keep my looking at your beautiful faces as opposed to looking over here. So I've been talking about prayer lately. And so we've talked about praying for the little things. I think that was last week, praying for the big things the week before that. So this week I want to talk about praying for the lost. Ken, do you often pray for unbelievers in your life, people who don't love Jesus?
Yeah. Yep.
When I say praying for an unbeliever, does someone or someone's pop into your mind? You don't have to share who they are, but do you see like in your mind a picture of the person that the Holy Spirit wants you to pray for?
Yeah. Yep.
So I got littles. I have two that I just don't know. Well, I have one on the way, so congratulations to me, I guess. And then
Mhm.
we have a little one who is going to be two very soon. And so I want him to be a Christian. I want this one that will be born later this year to also be a Christian. So I'm
Yeah.
praying for their salvation. And I know, Ken, you totally get this. The most important prayer request in my life is that my kids love the Lord.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
now I know you're at the stage where you got grandkids.
Mhm.
You have it. How cool is it that that gets to be your most important prayer request again?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how cool is our God that he not only he so loves us, he's allowed you to pray the same thing basically twice.
Yep.
And so how do we pray for the lost? Well, let's just talk about who we are and then who God is for a second. The Bible says that we're all spiritually dead. Without Christ, we're spiritually dead. So we're praying for dead people. If you want to get really into it, you could say everyone who's not a Christian is a zombie. They're dead men walking.
Yep.
Um, and so we're praying for them. And so I want to use the story of Lazarus to kind of demonstrate this for a little bit. Um, we are all spiritually dead. Jesus, of course, he deals with spiritual death, but also physical death, but also does with spiritual death. So you might remember the story of Lazarus. Lazarus was Jesus' one of his very good friends, and he dies. And then instead of coming back right away, he delays 4 days or so to come and see him. So
Mhm.
one of the things that we could do when we're praying for the lost is to obey scripture, which says pray without ceasing. So never stop praying for your loved one who is not a Christian. So for me, I think of my little ones. They pop into my mind. I see them as clearly as I see Ken on the screen. I see them in color. I see their smiles. I have my imagination as to this one yet born, what he or she will look like. Probably like the other three. Kids tend to look alike, don't they?
Yep.
And so you keep praying for them. And the thing that I want to share about this is there isn't a single person beyond Jesus's ability to save. This is key. There is no one out there who God cannot save. Everyone is savable. Even you might say that person is too wretched, or maybe you might say, I am too evil. You can't go that deep. There is no too bad or too far gone that Jesus won't redeem. That's what he does. There is no one outside of God's ability to redeem. If he could bring Lazarus back from the dead, how much more can he do for the friend that you have that's alive?
Yep.
That child you have that's alive, that loved one you have that's alive. He can do it. So don't give up in your prayers. Don't just throw in the towel. Keep praying. God can save anyone. I'll say this. The people that the world seems are the most wicked are the people who think they're the most evil. It feels like the churches are filled with people like that. The church isn't really filled with a lot of people who the world would say was a good person. You know what I mean? Does that check out in your understanding too, Ken? Like the good people, according to our culture, they're not necessarily always filling up the pews so much as the person who was the bad guy is.
Right.
Now I'll say there's a good subset of us who are like raised Christian and so on. Of course, we're in the churches too. God is so merciful to families like ours, but a lot of the church is filled up with as well, like people like Paul. Paul was an accomplice to murder. He hunted down Christians.
Yep.
And God, in his awesomeness, he saves them all the time. And so God is not, there isn't somebody he cannot save.
Right.
So keep praying. There's no one beyond Jesus's outreach. The second thing is when you look at the character of Jesus, when he sees the lost and he sees the masses, the one thing that Jesus has all the time when he sees the lost, when he sees the masses, when he sees the rich young ruler who asks what he has to do to follow God, and Jesus says, "Sell everything and follow me," and he walks away sad because he had many things. He looks at them with compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus genuinely loves your lost friends, your lost family members. He truly, truly does in a way that we can't really comprehend. And so when you're praying for the lost, know that your God, he actually already loves them. Like he actually really loves them. And by the way, when you're talking about praying for the lost, I was talking with a friend about this the other day. If he so loves the lost with a great compassion, that means he loves you even more so because he loves his children. Like your Jesus, your God, he loves you. And it's a weird thing to say, but let me put it like this. I've said this on here before. Jesus is the apple of God's eye. Like the Father loves the Son more than anything.
Yeah.
And the Father crushed his Son for people who hate him, which is us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Bible says.
Yep.
If we are the ones who would have said, crucify, crucify, is what the Bible seems to say. If it was Christ, we were the ones who would want him to do it. And so the people who hate God, he traded his perfect Son for imperfect sinners. And his Son knew that, and his Son still went to the cross, and his Son knew that the people around him would betray him, and he still has compassion and love for us.
Yeah.
So that's who it is. You when you're praying, are acting like our God and having compassion for the lost around you. So we had a prayer meeting yesterday at my church, and I've been thinking about this for this this teaching on praying for the lost, and I took the prayer meeting in the direction saying today is going to be about lost people, and we prayed and we prayed. I want to say for a half hour straight, just for lost people.
Mm.
One of the coolest things was some of the seniors started putting their grandchildren down on on the list,
Yeah.
and when you start, and then even more difficult, there's a few parents who have children that are in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, who put their children down on the list, and you can hear them saying their names through, like, choking, and then just like, "Can I
Yeah.
pray for him still?"
Yeah.
And but even for those with grown children, for the grandchildren, God loves them. Like, he truly has compassion for them.
Mhm.
And here's the thing you need to know about unbelievers. The Bible says that they are spiritually blind. So you are talking to people who are actually blind. Ken, you probably understand this. You ever try to help somebody and it's so obvious, but they just don't take the advice?
Yeah. Yep.
You like you the so the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And
Mhm.
then you know that person. That person is that horse. And you could say everything until you're blue in the face about the Lord Jesus, and they'll even say you're right, and they still won't believe.
Yeah.
They're blind. They can't do it. And the worst thing is that the Bible says not only are they blinded by Satan, they also are blind to themselves. They re-blind themselves. So
Mhm.
God has compassion on these people, but that's their state. Um, Here's the thing else about lost people that we have to remember. They're captives.
Yeah.
So what do I mean by captive? It means they're slaves. Let me just read a little bit of scripture. Um, Paul tells us that spiritually dead people walk and live according to the very courses and paths set out by as it says in the Bible, the ruler and the kingdom of the air. The unbeliever is taken captive. Have you ever seen the Christmas Carol, Ken,
Yeah.
with Ebenezer Scrooge?
Yeah.
If you get a chance to watch the film again, at the very beginning, they meet with, I think it's Marley, his friend.
Jacob Marley, yeah.
And so the neat thing about Marley is that he is a ghost who's trying to stop Ebenezer from dying and going to hell.
Mhm.
And you see Jacob Marley, he has chains.
Yeah.
And the chains are chained to his money box and they're chained to him. And there's a scene, if you see the films, you see more men out there who have chains on them. The unbelieving person that Jesus has compassion on, they're like Jacob Marley. They are chained to the devil. They are
Mhm.
chained to their sins. And what you see Jacob Marley, what is he chained to? He's chained to his money boxes
Yep.
because he was greedy in life. And so he was chained to the very things that caused him his greatest sin, which is his greed. Our
Mhm.
friends who are unbelieving, the children, the grandchildren, the people that we love, they are literally slaves to not only their sin, but to the devil. The devil, the Bible says they are captives. And a captive is literally when a raid would come in and they'd steal people and take them as their own, and they'd make them do whatever they wanted. Like our loved ones who don't believe are slaves to Satan. They cannot escape. Their chains are visible to in the spiritual realm. They're visible to us, but they're not visible to them. And they don't realize that those chains are dragging them quite literally to hell and judgment forever.
Yeah.
Um, they're chained. They're chained to their sinful desires. I was said this as an illustration sometime once in the past. Um, our sin so want we so get so stuck on our sin that we're like the pharaohs of old. The pharaohs would die burying themselves with all their worldly goods, including their cats. And
Yeah.
people would come and steal all the worldly goods, but not the cats. Because you can't take anything with your dead. You can't take it with you. You are captive to this world. And here's the thing about unbelieving people that Jesus has compassion on. They're condemned. Like
Yeah.
before your sin, you are condemned to hell.
Mhm.
But the Bible says this: whoever believes in him, that's Jesus, is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already because he has not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. That's John 3:18. Everyone loves to read John 3:16, but you need to read the section around it. You,
Yeah.
Christian, are not condemned if you're in Christ. So if you're covered with guilt, don't be. But to you who are hearing this that is not a believer, you are condemned to hell and death unless you repent and believe. But
Mhm.
remember what John 3:16 teaches us. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, whoever should believe in him shall not perish, but have eternal or everlasting life. If you believe, you'll have that. So when you're praying for your friend, you can say your friend's name in that verse. Like, God, you love John. You love him. Please give him everlasting life. Um, Here's the next thing I think is interesting. Uh, when Jesus works with unbelievers, or in the case of Lazarus, Jesus goes to Lazarus.
Yeah.
He goes to him, he goes to his tomb, he meets him where he is. Sometimes we have to be willing to go share with the unbeliever. Uh, be in a place that we can do that. If we're always in holy huddles, and it's good to be in church, it's good to be amongst believers. We should seek that all the time. It's where we charge up, but we need to also remember that the lost are not going to come to our holy huddles. And so we're going
Right.
to have to find avenues to share.
Mhm.
My favorite avenue, Ken, here's a hack if you want to get better service at the store or quicker service at the store. Start talking about Jesus at the checkout line, and you'll be out of the store either real fast or in an hour. Because they're going to want to talk about, if it's the day they're going to talk about Jesus, they'll be scanning one thing at a time, or they're
Yeah.
like, "Brrr," and you're gone.
And half your stuff you get
um,
for free because they just threw it in the
yeah,
bag. They're like,
yeah,
"All right,
because
get
they
out of
want you
here."
out of there. No joke. When we got these new phones, I started talking about Jesus at the at Spectrum. Man, were we out of there so fast.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Hey, you
I'll
know
remember
what?
that.
I love talking about the Lord, and I find it literally one of two responses. They either are like, "Yeah, let's talk about Jesus," or they're like, "Oh, you're good. Have a great day,"
Yeah.
because they have to do anyway. So, but go to these places to chat with them, share with them. Use good sense about it too. But that's what Lazarus did. Here, Ken. Question, by the way, how do you think Lazarus felt when Jesus resurrected him from the dead?
I've wondered that because I'm like, you know, does he remember being in heaven and then being yanked back? It's like, or does he remember at all? Did God let him remember at all? I don't know. I can't imagine what that was like. And the Bible doesn't say, so it's like, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
I tend to think he probably did remember, you know? And why I tend to think he did remember was because he probably had a perfect brain. And so, but R.C. Sproul tells this joke about Lazarus coming back to life, and he goes like, he probably was really agitated, like, come on. But
Yeah,
then he
I mean,
goes like, but realistically, he would have experienced perfect sanctification for like 4 days. So he probably would get it. You know what I
and then
mean?
he's back. He's like, "Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?"
Yeah. So while we think it's funny to be like, come on, but probably realistically, Lazarus was like, oh, I know what you're doing, Lord.
Yeah.
It's like, like he brought you back to life and you're okay with it. It's like, it's because at this point, like I said, he experienced like 4 days of perfect sanctification. He probably was like, yeah, I get the Lord's plans. Lazarus is probably the man that like, yeah, he practically walks on water at this point. Um, But yeah, so I always wonder, like, I would love to ask him his thought. Lastly, last two things I'm gonna add are pray for the unbelieving friend of yours by name. Like, don't be afraid to name him. Like, God, you love you love John. God save John. Don't be afraid to do that. Pray it all the time. Keep praying for it. The lost are important to God. They're important to us. Um, and the reality is you and I were lost, and somebody prayed for us.
Mhm.
Um, this is a note for people out there. new life comes with tears. Every mom knows that. Every mom knows that. New life always comes through tears. Um, when it comes to your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, whoever, um, don't be afraid to pray until your heart breaks.
Mm.
Because I think of my little one, my youngest one right now. The most important prayer in my life is that one loves Jesus.
Yeah.
That is the most important prayer that I have right now. Um, it scares me to death to think that one of my children might be in hell. It
Yeah.
it puts a fear in me that I can't. It takes my breath away. And so, new life takes tears. It just does.
Yep.
Um, and if you've had kids like Ken and I have, we didn't experience the tears; we saw them. Our wives experience the tears, but we see it and we can recognize it. And so, for your little ones that you love, new life is gonna take it's gonna be heart work, but it's worth the heart work.
Yeah.
I mean, even when our Lord was crucified, there were tears shed around him, and he himself was sweating blood. That's
Yeah.
how much new life costs. It's costly. So don't be afraid to break your heart because you love somebody through prayer. Um, it's a good thing. They're holy tears when you pray so hard it breaks your heart.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to do that. And if you do pray so much that it leads you to that heartbreak that you just don't want it, remember what Jesus says. The Bible says that he collects your tears in a bottle. The Bible also says there'll be a day with no more tears in the future.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to pray so invested that it hurts, because it's a good hurt. Um, it scares me. It scares me, the idea that my kid would be separated from me for eternity.
Yeah.
And that's a good holy fear. I do it because I love them, not because it's because I love them, because I love my Lord. So don't be afraid to pray for the lost. Pray all the time. Pray without ceasing. It's worth it. You are part of God's plan to free this person from their sin. What a great story it would be one day to say, I was praying for you and God
Yeah.
answered it. Just as a real quick story, not Christmas Eve this year, but 2 years ago, my son told me on Christmas Eve, "Daddy, I love Jesus."
Hmm.
And I was about to go preach a Christmas Eve service, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
If I could float, I would have floated into that service. Um, because that's all I want, is to hear, "Daddy, I love Jesus," from
Mhm.
all of my children. And maybe you may not be in the boat that I'm in, for whoever's listening, but maybe it's, "Hey, Ken, I love the Lord." And or, "Hey, Grandpa, I love the Lord."
Yeah.
How d That is a treasure that you'll have the rest of your life. It brings me to, I get, like, pins and needles thinking about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
How awesome would that be? It's the kind of thing where one day like, Kat and I will talk about it to one another. "Hey, did you know my little one or my grandchild said this to me the other day?" And it's just it's such a moment of great awesomeness and goodness of God. And so it's worth it. It's just worth it. But hey,
Yep.
if you need prayer, please don't be afraid to put that in the chat or leave it in the comments. We love to pray for you. If there's somebody in your life that you don't want to necessarily, you don't give us names online. But
Yeah.
hey, pray for my loved one. You could say that. We'll
Yep.
definitely pray for your loved one. There's ways to reach out to us. You could, I know this is on X. You could direct message me. You could message the channel too, and we'll of course take time to pray for you. We do talk about these silly TV shows, but ultimately we do that because we love the Lord and we want to love His people and love you. We want to equip Christians, and that's why we talk about things like this. Help you have a better worldview as far as when you see these shows, how you could just deal with the nonsense. But we want to help you, and the reality is Ken and I want to grow too, and so that's why we do this.
Yep.
We want to be more obedient. We want to, and I don't know. I have I think I have fun, but I think this guy has more fun. You ever have somebody who is like, oh, I'm gonna make my day terrible and enjoy doing it?
You're pointing the wrong way, by the way.
Oh, see, for me, you're over here. For you, I must be over there.
Yeah, so for me, you're over there.
No, you want to make it worse? Watch this. There you go.
Now I gotta go the other way.
For me, you're over here now.
That's weird because
So-
yeah, it's the opposite. Yeah, mirror image, I guess.
Wait, I wonder if I could do this. Can I put you? Oh, because sometimes you could put the character, the person below you. You could do this anyway. Yeah, but that's why we do this. We want to just equip you and encourage you, and we want to have a ton of fun. And so, hey, I appreciate you, Ken. I really do. I appreciate our audience out there. You guys make it worth it. I appreciate what you say. I don't know what this was about, Kelly, but that's when we're talking about aliens. I appreciate your comments too.
Yep. Oh, wait. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week with another episode, and we're gonna get episode 7, which I'm excited because we've hit we're over the hump now. So there are fewer episodes ahead than there are behind. So we're getting.
What are we gonna do when we're done? I don't know what we're doing. Like, what our lives look
Whatever
like.
we do, as long as it's not Starfleet Academy, I don't care what it is at this point. I'll watch the grass grow and review that one week. So
I think at this point we won't ever have to watch it again after it's done.
No. I refuse, whether Paramount agrees or not. But no, so yeah, we appreciate you guys watching, and click like and comment. And like Dave said, if you have anything you want us to pray about, or help you out with, we'd be happy to do that. So we will see you all next week, same time, same channel.
Good night, everybody.